Okay, we got him. We got him.
But the funny thing is, I hit request, nothing happened.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, but
Maybe it's the internet.
Maybe it's the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's welcome the one and only
One and
Rennie
only.
Harris.
Yes.
Yay! We're our own audience right around here. Yay!
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for joining us, Rennie.
Yep.
People are popping in. This usually the Instagram live is about an hour long. So I'm going to use the last 15 minutes for all of the viewers watching. I'll use the last 10 minutes for any questions to ask for Rennie and take advantage of this platform here. But also, you guys could follow Rennie Harris in Instagram as well. I know he's a man that's always open to conversations, and he's probably like, oh my God, Jackie, you need 100 requests now. He is a popular man. How are you, Rennie? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Saturday, I guess. So
it is Saturday. I know. There's like nothing to do. Lee and I went for like a 3-mile walk, and we had our workout.
3 miles, huh?
3 miles.
Nice.
And it felt good.
Get my dance in today. Going baby steps
there
to the dance.
Go.
Right?
So right now we have a lot of the Versatile Next Generation and Versatile family viewing, as well as other people, and people are going to come in and out. But I think right now the whole goal is that we just have a conversation with you. I want it to be as organic as possible, where people get a sense of our relationship with you too. We have so much love and admiration and respect for you, but I also know there's this goofy, fun side to you. And, I would just like to shed light on people to know that though you're this man that many people respect and you're a pioneer in your own right, I just love reminding people that you're a human being too, and that you're here to just school us and have a conversation with us. So thank you, Rennie.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Look at his smile. So Rennie, I'm just going to get to the point here. I know I had asked you some questions. And I just thought I'd just get to the point and just ask some questions that I felt our company members were curious on, and also how we could let others get to know you a bit. So maybe really quick, just to start, Rennie Harris, can you share a brief history of how you started dancing? I would even like a brief history on how you got your AKA, because you have several AKAs in my opinion.
Or maybe we'll go with the AKA of Prince Scarecrow.
Yeah.
How about we start with that? So how did you start dancing, a little brief history, and then how did you get your AKA?
Right. I basically I started dancing right before high school, probably my head. I was like 13-ish. But I was already, meaning like first I started getting paid for it, 13, 14 years old. And
14.
Oh yeah, man. They, you go do the the barbecue, the church event. You know what I mean? They give you like $10. And so, about high school. So anyway, I was with a group called the Stepmasters, and I was like a co-captain. Franklin Stewart, Frank Monk, the leader. He was actually the one who kind of taught me GQ. Style of street dance, 70s, and GQ dancer for a while, Stepmasters, and then from there, captain a group mostly poppers. Kind of switched from GQ to becoming a Scanner Boy. And the Scanner Boys were like these cats from the hood, you know what I mean? Who were kind of copying after them, and they were, they were ladies and that kind of thing. So, eventually we just kind of, I don't even know how we kind of took in, because we hung out a lot around them a lot. So, so we came, we started to become really popular in Philadelphia. We opened up, rap groups would come to Philly to perform. This is before rap was in coliseums and spectrums and
Sure.
like clubs and what have you. So we would open up art, come to Philadelphia, and then eventually, I think it was I was turning 18, and I did something for the Smithsonian Institution. Once they took us, they suggested audition, so I went to audition, and Magnificent Force with our Master Fable and Mr. Wiggles, and I got on a tour called the Fresh Festival. So it was the first rap tour to cross the, to my knowledge. Run DMC, Fat Boy, Curtis Blow.
Wow.
Rennie, hold on. I'm going to have to stop you because I'm getting a lot of folks telling me that you're going in and out, that your words are cutting in and out. So I don't know if it's a reception here or with us.
It might be here. Let me try this. How's that?
Everybody give us some responses. Let us know if you can hear.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
We could hear you now, but now you're sideways though. Like
yeah, I know, but what it is that the microphone is on the bottom of the phone. So if I put the phone up and hold it up, or I tell you what, I'll do this. Okay. I was trying to talk and chillax.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
okay, but now,
how's that? Is that better?
Now everybody's saying they could hear you now. Yeah, that it's better.
Word. Okay, got you.
You're giving a lot of, very important.
Gonna work out my biceps.
For 1 hour. Here we go.
Yes, man. All right. So I was just saying, the Scanner Boys opened up for groups and the rap groups when they came to Philadelphia. From there, I did a thing with the Smithsonian Institution where they were documenting hip hop as a folklore at that time. And then they sent field agents into Philly, New York, and different places looking for hip hoppers. And so I was a kid at the time. And so one of the agents had suggested we go to New York, and they found us. Her name was Lee Ellen Freeman, I think it was at the time, and she took us to New York for an audition. And we auditioned for Julie Fraud, and Julie Fraud was the manager of this group, Magnificent Force. Mm-hmm. And we got into Magnificent Force, which is, you guys know, Pop Master Fable and Mr. Wiggles. And so that's how we became sort of like street brothers, you know what I mean? Brothers in street culture, that kind of thing. Of course, we battled Mr. Wiggles and Pop Master Fable for years. Wow. For years. It wasn't really until we got older that we were like, man, we battled so much. We was like, we just might as well just be friends. You know what I mean? So, and so in any case, I did that. We opened up. I did the first rap tour across the country called the Fresh Festival. Run DMC, Fat Boys, Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, I think, came on when we performed at Madison Square Garden. Hip hop was the first time hip hop had been at Madison Square Garden and sold it out. And so we did that. I did that along with some of the Scanner Boys, and then so I did it for like 2 years, I think, and then they got rid of us for hip hop dancers. Wow. Because I was a popper and a breaker. I was okay at breaking, but popping was my thing. And so hip hop dance that came into place. A lot of people don't even think about it that way because they think of locking and popping and breaking as hip hop. When really that was just a carryover from the funk era. You know what I mean? And we were trying to figure out what was hip hop, because back then you didn't call yourself a hip hop dancer, you just called yourself a popper, a locker, or a breaker, right? Or a boogier, as they used to call it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I did that for a while. Left New York in 90. Left New York in 88, 87, 88. Floated around choreographing, doing some stuff. I was about to do some stuff with Boys to Men before they blew up, and then I went to some. I missed that boat because and they called me up to do some choreography, but I couldn't. And my buddy C Note did it, and then so I was just doing like choreography for groups and stuff. I was Philly, just chilling, like enjoying the life on like the hip hop culture. This is when the Roots used to be called Square Roots. Wow. Before they changed their name to the Roots, Jill Scott, you see her walking. I last time I saw her before she blew up, she was walking down my block. I was like, yo, Jill, what's up? I didn't even know that she was a singer. I thought, because I only knew her as a poet. You know what I mean? And so, like, so everybody like lived in North. A lot of people, like, 3 Times Dope. All these rappers really came out of North Philly or either West Philly with Will Smith and Schoolie D. We all know each other. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, in any case, I did that. Got some money in '91. Somebody commissioned me money, and I created Rennie Harris Puremovement. I started doing street dance in theater.
And what year? I'm sorry. What year was that again?
That was in 1991, and officially we are founded officially in '92. But I started creating the work in 1991.
Yeah, the reason I slowed down because I know that was going to be the next question. I love that you just like already went on to the next question as to the birth of Pure Movement, but you sharing all that previous history of yours, I think it's so important. We don't talk about it, or when it's shared, it's always from just very specific lenses. So that's why it's so important to like hear your story and that aspect of your dance.
Yeah, I mean, I have a strong commercial. I did commercial work for a long time. You know what I mean? And you'll see, and people know the videos. They just don't know it's me.
Because we need to show them how you used to look.
Show that throwback footage.
Yeah. Yo, skinny mini.
I would like to show it. I know next week was going to be our 15-year anniversary, and as all the folks know, because we made the announcement, you were going to be our honoree for the year. And I can't wait to hopefully depending on how this COVID-19 thing is going, that everything moves forward in October. But that's where I'm really excited to share footage on you and just more about who you are and what you do, because I'm more committed than ever now, along with Lee and Versatile, to pay homage to all of you guys that you're alive and well doing the work.
Yeah.
And it's just needed. And then as Prince Scarecrow for me, I just
we got to know about a little bit.
Oh well, see what I part of that is when I did the commercial work in New York, my nickname was Prince. Well, originally I took on the name Rennie Prince, right, in Philadelphia. And when I went to New York, I just dropped Rennie and I just went by Prince. So people who rocked out with me back then know me as Prince. Like Wiggles, Fable, they all know me as Prince. And often you might hear somebody call me that. And then when I came back to Philly, I was just, there was a moment in the 90s, I was just on one, just going at people in a club, like hard, like just, And so because I was carrying over that old gang culture. You know what I mean? When you walk around the circle and you got the Muggsy face, and so people started like, one of the dancers, I said, I was getting down at some club in Philly and I was like, yo, nobody came out. Nobody tried to battle me. I was talking to one of the young bucks and they was like, they scared of you, man. You're going to beat them up or something. So I started going by the tag of Scarecrow. So I just tagged on both of those moments because those are 2 parts of my life, was Prince Scarecrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I could relate. I'll never forget when Lee and I went for the first time to Philadelphia in 2005, and you were crossing the street, and Lee and I were eating outside, and Lee looks at you, and Lee's like,
I wouldn't mess with that man.
I wouldn't mess with that man. Because you guys have to know Rennie's tall, right? This big man, and back then he had this hair that he would rock and everything with this big jacket. Yeah, don't mess with Rennie. So I don't mess with Rennie.
So yeah, that came about, and I think, and then later on, some point, I think it was 2000, I took on Jungle. Yeah, so some people you'll hear like, because I thought I was, I was beasting. You know what I mean? I'm about to go in hard on cats, like with the work that I was creating, because I was getting so much flack from my own peers about them trying to tell me what hip hop was and what street dance was, and I was like, no, I was there with you, so I know exactly what it is. So how you trying to hate on me, you know what I mean? So you know what? I was just like, man, forget that. I'm about to go hard. So I just went in the lab really and started creating as much as I can and didn't really care what anybody was thinking about it. You know what I mean? It was like, forget it. I'm gonna get in my own lane. Because some people. There was a rumor out that said I went to New York and saw Jam on the Groove. And then I went back to Philly and created my stuff. And I was like, nah, that's not true. I've never seen Jam on the Groove. Ever. I've never seen that piece. I wanted to see it, but I never saw it. You know what I mean? Because I was always of the mindset, I didn't really go see other people's stuff because I was always afraid of people saying I would I took something of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I say, because that's one of the dangers in choreography. When you go see other people work, you might be working on the same thing. You might have the same idea, because that happens, because you know, and so you walk in and and I'll be like, damn it, I can't use the move now. I can't use that music now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And so I was always, and still am to this day, very careful about what I see. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to necessarily, I could be inspired, but I don't want to, if I'm thinking of the same exact thing, I will drop what it is that I'm doing, because I'm very careful about that, because in hip hop culture, that's a major thing, biting people's shit,
Yep.
And so I think, so when I heard that kind of pissed me off a little bit, because people got the wrong story out there, and then they started pushing that narrative, and then I was hearing that for years, and probably people still talking about that, but I was doing what I was doing in the 80s with the Scanner Boys and the Stepmasters. We were already doing that, and really you can't really say there's one person that brought street dance to the theater. You understand? Because there's so many. We were doing that. Everybody was doing it way as soon as it became popular in the mainstream. So I don't think of myself as that person who's done that. You know what I mean? I think of myself as the person who pushed the vocabulary of street dance and wrenched it out and made decisions as to what style and what texture I needed to be able to tell this story, and then what fit best. You know what I mean? That's like doing house to jazz. And when I realized house really works with jazz music, I was like, oh snap. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like I brought to the game, to be real honest with you. Cats who are on their just on their thing, man. It's really about, when you have light on you, man, everybody's gonna separate you. People gonna hate you, people gonna love you. And that used to really hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? I used to be like, be really like depressed about it, because I came from the same space. You know what I mean? But once I got into the mindset, it was like, I'm going to do my own lane. You may cross my lane, and when you're in your own lane, guess what? You don't have no competition. There's nobody in front of you. You're the one in front. So when you create your lane, I was like, hold up. I mean, I literally thought that in my head. It wasn't like, this is not a hindsight. It just popped in my head. Create your own lane. Do what you do, and don't worry about what everybody else does. You know what I mean?
Just throwing advice, everybody.
Like one of the things. Think of it this way. If you and I are in a race from one corner to the next corner, you see that I'm getting ahead of you. You jump on me and you hold me down, so I don't get ahead of you and I don't win. What you don't realize is you just stop your own momentum too. All the energy and momentum you take to stop somebody else by hating, that same energy and momentum is stopping you from moving forward.
Yep.
I stopped hating on people years ago. Y'all know I don't talk bad about people. Even if I may not like a certain thing or this, you don't hear me downplay none of the other pioneers. I don't go off on rails about them. In fact, I do the opposite. I show them all love. You know what I mean? No matter what anyone says to me about, I hear a rumor, it is what it is. I'm in my own lane. So I'm protected by my lane that I created. You know what I mean? And so, because if I'm hating, every time if I feel, and I don't even have this feeling anymore, I think it's gone actually. If I ever feel the feeling of hating or talking negative, I know I just stopped my own progress.
You guys,
own progress.
I'm about to this is very
once again, we're learning something new
really
from our mentor and
really quick shout out your son Brandon Harris.
Your brother's like your son's echoing everything
you're saying. He's like, let's go, Pops. That's right, Pops. Yeah.
One love, bud.
Yeah.
See you, bud.
Yeah, Scotty. Yeah, Scotty.
But wow, that was very, very deep. Because that's beyond hip hop. You're talking about us.
Well, I mean, but that's what you got. But that's what you got to think about. You got to think about hip hop is beyond hip hop, right? So when you think about hip hop from a humanitarian standpoint, it makes so much more sense, right? Because that's really what it is. If the fifth element is knowledge, by definition, hip hop is beyond hip hop.
Yep.
Because knowledge, because Bambaataa didn't say it's knowledge of this and knowledge of that. It just says knowledge. So knowledge of everything, knowledge of everything around you. Like that, it's a humanitarian movement. And we often forget that that's what it is. You know what I mean? The word hip means to be aware. Like people are so caught up in the bling bling of it all, right? And the underbelly of it is the humanitarian movement, is the religion, this is a religious and spiritual movement.
Wow.
Yeah. Totally
Thank you, Rennie.
Totally agree.
I mean, this Instagram live is not going to be long enough.
No, we might have to do volume 2.
We're going to have to do episode 2 and 3 and 4 with Rennie. Everybody.
Yeah.
I'm so glad, just to let everybody know on the Instagram live, we are recording this and we're going to save it in our archives. So it's something that's really special and important. So just to go back, I guess, Rennie, to continue this conversation, to inspire all the people that are out there, along with everything you've been sharing, you also share the birth of Pure Movement. Because right now there's a lot of echo, especially at least in the dance community, because of the whole work with Alvin, Ailey, and Lazarus, and how that got out recently. Which was an amazing show. Let's give props to Rennie with Lazarus, because
if y'all haven't seen it, please go on to alvinandley.com or .org and check it out, because they're showing all their shows. Lazarus is one that Rennie did choreograph.
But you got to turn off all the lights and
get
just
some
like
popcorn,
and watch it like you try to be in the theater
and take notes.
Yeah,
because we took notes. We took tons of notes.
But with that said, Rennie, what was the birth of Pure Movement?
Well, all right. Part of it was I got the commission, right? I got $1,500. Someone said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $1,500 to do some work," and they was gonna give it to me a year in advance. And I was like, "Yo, I may not even be alive." And they just had a gun shootout right in front of my house. You know how dancers from the hood, they know we got to navigate a lot of stuff in the neighborhoods, and so our past is the fact that we dance. So often we can get around because we dance, right? And so, but yet, I'm like, I could get caught up in whatever. And he's like, well, let me give you half now. I'll give you half when, next year. So I said, oh, okay. I may not show up, but I'll take the money right now, And so I went, to tell y'all how hardcore I was, I didn't know what the word commission meant. I didn't know what work meant. When he said, I want you to create work. When I was younger, I used to be an apprentice to help lay brick, right? So I thought he wanted me to put up a wall, like in a parking lot or something, But I thought like they were, because you $1,500, you get the cement, you get the bricks, you get the, like I'm going to lay, you know what I mean? So I had no clue what the dude was talking about. I actually thought it was my friends joking with me, pretending to sound white. So I'm just saying how hardcore at the time that I was, you know what I mean? And when I say hardcore, meaning of the neighborhood. Yeah. And so in any case, I took the money, went into rehearsal. I got some cats that I thought would want to do it, like the best cats in Philly in the clubs. None of them showed up for rehearsal. I had one cat. And then the one cat the couple cats that did show up, they got pissed off because I made them repeat the movement. I was like, yes, yeah, So I got rid of those cats, and I just took the young boys, and the young boys, they had a little talent. They could do a lot of tricks, but I had to get the dance in them. You know what I mean? And so I took all the young boys who were still going to the clubs, but they weren't really necessarily, hip hop, meaning they've been through the pings and pangs of real hip hop, some gangster stuff, or they really wasn't street cats, at the time. And so I took them. We made this work, except for one cat, brother Peace. He was from the Scanner Boys, so I pulled him over into the group. Yeah, and so So in any case, we create the work, and as you may know, I used to draw, and now I thought I was going to be an artist, you know, like a do portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was whack at drawing portraits, but I could kind of still draw some things, you know what I mean? And so what I was doing some drawings and doodling, and I wrote Rennie Harris is Pure Movement. And what I did was I created a piece for that show called Pure Movement. And then the guy had asked me later, what's the name of your company? And I was like, I don't know. So then what I thought about was the last two letters of my last name is I-S. So I made it Rennie Harris Pure Movement. Like Rennie Harris is Pure Movement.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so, and I did that because an old head, the OG had told me a long time ago, this is in the 80s, he said, listen, if you want to last in this business, put your name on it. I was like, what do you mean? He said, yeah, you could be a part of, you can have the Scooby-Doo and the Funky Bunch, but nobody will ever know that you were part of the Scooby-Doo and the Funky Bunch. You'll be talking about, hey, I used to be that dancer with that group. And he said, put your name in front of it. Everyone will remember your name. And if it doesn't go right, you'll still be able to move forward because people will remember your name.
Wow.
And so,
well, man, Rennie, why didn't you just give
why
us
did you
that
tell us
advice?
this in 2005, Rennie?
You should have just said, call it Breeze Funk or something. Just kidding. No,
yo, you can still call it Breeze Funk. That's a whole nother crew. You can still call it Breeze Funk.
All right, okay.
Yo. But anyway, that's how the name came about, to become Pure Movement. And I was saying Pure Movement because I felt like, and still feel like to this day, that street dance is the purest movement you're ever going to meet. I don't care what generation you're in. I don't care if it's 2050, 2070. And what I'm calling street dance is a slang for community. It doesn't mean I used to think like some people still think this, that when we say street dance, it's a lower connotation of dance. No.
Yeah.
It's a slang that means community dance. So community dance will always be here and will always reach out and will be the purest form of dance ever. The reason why, there are no limitations, there's no judgment, there's no prototype, right? You just get up and you start moving, and if you dope, guess what? You dope. If you whack, you whack.
Whack.
Right?
That's
and
simple.
So I felt like street dance, I feel like street dance was the purest dance. And so that's why I called it Pure Movement.
Got you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for, Rennie, I know
we're
you
learning
for all
some
these
new
years,
things.
and I didn't know that story. I didn't.
True.
So even I'm getting
It's true.
schooled.
It's
You want to
true.
ask the next question, Lee?
Yeah, so moving on to the next question. When creating, because you've created so many great pieces and shows and productions, but we're curious, personally, we're curious. What is your process when creating a new dance theater production? Is the process the same or is it different?
I think that it's the same, but I feel like I do it differently. Like I have like different models of how I go about it. You know what I mean? But those models are the same. So for instance, I hear a piece of music and I'm like, and that music automatically, I see a video in my head. When I hear music and the music creates a video in my head, it's done. It's done. All I have to now do is figure out how to create movement that matches what I saw in my head. So that's one of the things that, like, how it works for me. The other part is when I don't have that musical, so if I'm not inspired that way, what I do is I go in and I'll just make a blanket of choreography, like a long ass phrase of choreography. Have no clue what the music's going to be, have no clue what the piece is going to be.
Wow.
Eventually, maybe 2 weeks in, I start to see things in the phrase that I created. and then I go off of that or what I saw. Now, the reason why I say that is because I see it because of the dancers. So the dancers, their characters begin to come out in the choreography or the phrase, and then I begin to see which character is the more dominant, and I go with that often. You know what I mean? Okay. So there's a few. So I start without music and just go in with the you know, choreography first, and then sometimes I start with music. But I use both of those sort of like as my method, my go-to to begin to figure out how to create some work. You know what I mean? Or when I have to do it, you know. And then the next part is figuring out how all of it connects, you know, to each other.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I mean, Lee and I have had the privilege of working with you in the past, so it'll be a memory that I'll never forget. For sure. Because we were like the bodies, and you were just throwing all kinds of movement. And mind you guys, Rennie don't count. He's all musical in the moment, going. And I recall me, Nina, and Lee trying to count, figuring it out, you know, and it was just my point is, it was just the most incredible process.
But people often, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like you know, this is the way I teach too. I used to go in the Western way. I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what I mean? Do all the counts and start from the top of the music and count 32 eighths of God, you know, whatever. But you know what? I realized that's not how I was taught. That's not how I learned dance. I learned it from ear. You know what I mean? Like how to learn to hear the music with your ear, right? And the dopest part of it is this: all music is written in 4/4. It's written in your heartbeat. It's hard. You cannot be out of time. It's in measure to your heartbeat. It's right in alignment with your heartbeat. You got me? Unless it's classical, unless it's Indian, right? 3s, 5s, 7s, right? Right, but culturally, from American culture, with music, it's 4/4. It's not that deep. And so people like, you know, I'll be like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and I'll start over. I'll be 1, 2, 3, 1. You know what I mean? Like with the movement. So, but it's all relative to me. So this confuses people when they work with me, and it frustrates them. And you know, often they like, well, what is he? Does he know what he's doing? He can't count. You know, I can count. I can count, but
working with you is so humbling. That was a humbling experience. You opened our mind in that way, and then it changed the whole process and how we even freestyle. I recall
because you don't feel it. You gotta feel it. When you feel it, and when I say feel it, I mean literally feel it, because it's a vibration. I had, you know, Ryan Cleet danced with me for 10 years, completely deaf.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah.
And guess who knew all the choreography? Ryan Cleet.
Yeah.
You got me?
Yeah.
Like and that's proof. It's a vibration. You need to feel it. And when you feel it, you cannot not be out of time.
Wow. And really quick, just because I see also your son, not asking questions, but making remarks. People, of course, we know about, you know, is the process the same with Raw as well? So I don't think a lot of people know you have Pure Movement, but you also have Rennie Harris Raw. Is it similar? Yeah, the process is similar. I just go in and start creating. I create on the bodies that's in the room. It's very hard for me to create if somebody's missing. Yeah.
So I can't hold space for them. Like, oh, you know, See, in street dance or a hip hop company or crew or whatever, there's no hierarchy. Everybody are soloists. You have to, for me, if you want to dance for me, you have to be a soloist. You need to get in the cipher. And then you learn how to do choreography.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got me? So there's no superstars. Everybody is the star. You know what I mean? That's how we roll in street dance culture and hip hop. Everybody brings they contribute. That's Africanist and, you know, perspective, you know?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So also, Rennie, since we're talking about process and creating, looking back at all the work that you've created, what is the work that you're most proud of as a whole, and why?
And we know that's a tough question for you because you're never satisfied.
I don't think Rennie's ever happy.
So real quick, y'all, one thing that he told us years ago is that he believes work takes between 2 to 5 years to really show its like almost, you know, full potential. And so Rennie, every dancer that's working with Rennie knows not to ask him, hey, how was it? Because he's going to tell you it was whack. So for you, what is, I guess, as a whole?
All this work, you've done so many productions. Functified, you've done Roman Jewels, you've done Lazarus, you've done Facing Mecca, Lift. Is there one that speaks to you that you will just hold on to and it's a highlight in a different way, and why?
Well, I would say out of all of it, it may have been Facing Mecca.
I saw that one.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's my. I mean, I think, you know, this. I mean, of course, you know, here's the thing. You know, the plight of the choreographer is that sometimes your idea remains your idea and never comes into fruition because the vessels aren't able to reproduce it. You mean the dancers aren't able to really do it, and so then you have to concede and figure out another way to tell the story. However, you know, you're always still wishing you had that person who could actually do the movement you want them to do and how you want them to do it, you know. And so I feel like a lot of my fight is always to figure out how to get the dancer to understand me, you know what I mean, as much as I can. But it's so hard because of Western culture, everyone, you know, in this habit and practice of asking so many questions, you know, instead of just doing it and just doing it until your body does it. You know what I mean? When I was taught a move, say, hey, you know, I was like, how you do this? Okay, they'll go like this. And y'all know this. You go, hey, man, how you do that? Oh, it goes like this, right? And then that's it. There's no where's my arm, where's my hand in relationship to my ribs. There's none of that talk. You know, and so your body learns a whole different way, you know what I mean? And so for me, that's the way I like to teach it, but sometimes I have to concede to kind of, you know, to be bilingual, right? With a different generation, with a different culture, if I'm working with a different culture. But however, often the dancer doesn't feel that they need to be bilingual with me. You know what I mean? They're resourcing their own language and trying to understand via their own via their own lens. But we have to create a new lens in order to communicate. So I often don't like a lot of to be real honest with you, I just often don't like a lot of the work that I do. And I'm gonna tell you something I have never told anybody, since it's only us three here.
With like over a lot of people here.
In the beginning, when I used to get hired, and we were like the new kids on the block and getting hired all the time, you know, I would say to the presenter, why are you booking me? You could book anybody. You don't need me. You know what I mean? I would try to convince them not to take me because I thought the work was that bad.
Wow. Oh my God, man.
Wow.
And eventually, as I got bigger, the people around me was like, Rennie, you need to stop. So I got banned from my own company from writing emails, responding to emails, and calling people back.
That's a good thing. I'm glad, because that's why you're here. Somebody was asking a few questions right now that I'm looking. They're asking if your work is archived anywhere. Is there any way that people could watch past productions on a website or anything like that? Would you have access to?
Well, right now we're figuring that out, trying to get, you know, gather all the work together. There's a lot of work out there, work that I've done and no one has seen. Maybe not, I would say no one, but, you know, I've done on universities that have only had one life. They were done at one time and not done ever again. There's work on companies that people don't know that I've choreographed for, that, you know, in the very beginning that I've created. So we are currently creating that, but and we should have a snippet of something up by the summertime. That people could just go and just check out some links. Yeah,
I mean, Facing Mecca is when I first met you, Rennie. That's when I saw you at UCLA. You guys, again, I saw this big man popping, and I was like, who is he? And Facing Mecca just changed the whole paradigm in my whole career, Rennie. Oh, wow. I thought it was going to be commercial and everything, and I saw Facing Mecca, and I'm like, Rennie's going to be stuck with me now.
Sure. Same story. Yep.
But that was me coming back to the stage. I had retired.
Wow.
I retired. Yeah, I came.
That was 2002.
Yeah. You have to understand. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. I was traveling and doing all this stuff for that long. Like it takes a toll on the body. You know, that was me coming back, and then I stayed off. After I did that, I haven't been on stage again, and I just got back on stage maybe 3 years ago as my hips started failing me with Michael Sakamoto, and we did the piece Flash. You know what I mean? And I did that whole thing in pain, in excruciating pain the whole time. I couldn't. I could barely move, but I could stand in the space. If you see clips of that, you see me standing. That's me in like mad pain. You know what I mean? And walking through the space, and and I'm not even sure why I decided to do the piece, but he was such a nice cat, and we became really good friends. And I decided to do that piece with him because of his generosity, and this is a sweet man in general as a human on the planet. So, and I'm hoping now that I got 2 fresh new hips, that my hips are now 20 years old. I'm hoping to get. Yes, ma'am. I'm hoping to get back on the stage one more time, though. Actually, in this new piece I'm creating.
Well,
so with that said,
we have the next question, which is, if you had the opportunity to dance full out and share the stage or dance floor with someone,
who would it be?
Who would it be?
So here you've got this opportunity to dance with someone.
Your mentor, past peers,
I don't know. Who's that person?
Who's that one person?
I don't know. That's hard. I don't know if it's one person. I tell you this. One first thought that came to mind was Marjorie Smart.
Aw, Marjorie. Why are you gonna make me cry, Rennie?
No, I mean, because we weren't able to fully like get down. Like, I've always felt like it was coming. You know what I mean? Even though she danced in Legends, with me, with a lot of people, but I felt like I wanted to do something. And again, sometimes you have ideas in your own head and you don't express those ideas. Yeah. So it was kind of like that was like a missed opportunity for me, which made, so that would be that. Marjorie Smart, of course, Don Campbellock, and Boogaloo Sam.
Wow, that would be pretty epic.
So Marjorie would be like kind of like Marjorie's little. I think I might be 10 years older, 10 or 6 years older than her. So she's kind of she's probably your generation, about you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then Don and Sam, of course, are the next generation above me.
Wow. That would be epic. Well, we need to do something to get you and Boogie Sam then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna come to our festival. I might do something for us. Boogie Sam and Rennie Harris now.
Oh man.
So we got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
And I know there's something else. Let me see. This is another question that we thought, I don't know if we want to ask it, but I mean, it's worth it in a sense. Where would you like to see street dance theater in 10 years, Rennie? And we ask that because we feel your contributions to street dance theater is
major.
I don't know of anyone that does it like you do. Yeah. Quite frankly, that's
hands down. Yeah.
Everything you've created. So here you are, 10 years later. What do you foresee? What would you want? If you even,
I'd like to see more people and more dancers in America into street dance theater. I like to see more companies. There's very few. I mean, you can count them on your hands. One hand in American culture, right? We are like 15, 20 years behind everybody else overseas when it comes to street dance in the theater.
Yeah.
I like to see, people think about it not just as a spectacle, but really delve into the range that it can also bring. Like that's just the saddest thing. And yeah.
And I love that because you guys, just to let you guys know, Rennie is a major mentor of ours with Versatile Dance Company. Anytime we've had productions, we always want Rennie's feedback, even if it hurts a bit, even if it hurts. But we gotta ask. And I love that the last production that we had, Rennie reminded us, he grounded us. Y'all are a hip hop dance company, right? We're like, yeah. And you're like, well, there was a lot of things up there. We're not hip hop, Jackie. Like he was again just, and I take that advice as grounding us because that's what I hope makes us unique and different because we are so many years behind. And I know to training these styles from popping, locking, house, crumping, hip hop, it takes so much time, and it's something that I we're just
but
pretty
but
committed in
but yeah, but
expanding.
this is the time to explore and just do it. And I would say one of the biggest things that helped me was I never thought about the time. I didn't even realize. I turned around and we were like 20 years of Rennie Harris. 2022 is 30 years.
Wow. Wow.
You understand? And so, like, when you just doing it, just my thing is just do it, and folk who are all the students who are in universities. I'm gonna say this and just say, all right, excuse me. I'm just sorry, Jackie. Fuck it, okay? Because the universities often, in my opinion, strip you of your idea, your ideals, who you are when you walk in that door. Jackie, when you came to UCLA, this was the issue, right?
Yeah.
They was telling you how you needed to do what you felt in your heart, rather than just giving you the tools. Okay, here are some tools. Now take these tools and build you.
Yep.
A lot of these universities are stripping who you are, just put their information in and your life, figuring out who you are as an artist, because now you've been brainwashed. And not in and I'm not saying this in a bad way with universities. I'm saying this as meaning like I'm not saying universities are intentionally doing this. I'm just saying you leave there thinking this is the way you have to do it. When truthfully, you need to hold on to a little bit of yourself when you walk into that university. Keep that in your pocket. Keep you in your pocket. Learn get all the tools and hear all the advice and hear all the different methods. And please know, each professor has his own lens. It is not the lens. It's not the lens.
Thank you, Rennie. Thank you. You got to know there's a lot of college students here.
Sorry.
They're going to drop out now. They're going to drop out.
No. I'm not saying drop. I'm just saying, I'm sorry. If it sounds anti-university, it's not. I'm saying the university can do a lot for you. However, as a dance major or a choreographer or an MFA, doctorate, whatever you're getting, you still have to keep you, and you are valid. And so be always aware of that in your practice.
Sorry about that.
And so anyway, I'm just asking, if people can do that, then street dance will actually, flourish, because a lot of these students are coming as street dancers.
Yep.
To take dance, and there's nothing for them, and they're being told they have to do this other stuff in order for them to graduate.
I mean, that's why, Rennie, everybody, I don't know if everybody knows, but we met Rennie when I was at UCLA, and that's when I brought in Lee. Rennie, you're probably one of the main reasons why I didn't end up dropping. I was like depressed because I was being stripped down of who I was and everything I knew that was so pure to my experience, right? And I met you, and it just changed my entire life. I always get emotional when I think about you, but woo, I'm gonna stop.
Well, I mean, but I think for hip hop, for hip hop culture, and that's what I'm trying to hold it together.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the love for hip hop culture, for this the African diaspora. You know what I mean? Like, we have to push and stop blaming and push people to move forward. We are developed technologically, but we have not developed as spirits on the planet. Right? Hip hop will push that forward. It just will. And your voice will push that forward. Your voice, whatever generation, I don't care if it's trap, whatever it is, your voice and whatever your movement is, that's what pushes us forward. Yes. If we don't have change, we won't have change without the youth.
Yep.
Very true.
You know how many cats have died for hip hop? And then, everybody's like, sagging and, throwing up signs. And I'm like, well, oh, damn, you know what that is? You know what that means?
Yeah.
Like, so that voice, that innate voice, we have to continue to push that. You know what I mean? And so that would be what I want, to see, the U.S. specifically There's young dancers that are out there. Tell your story. It's not about being on fleek. It's not about being on 10 and trying to be a spectacle, flipping. And, you could do all of that because that's what we do. But let people know why you're doing it, the struggle that you went through. That's how I feel like I create and choreographically, is show the struggle first. And then we celebrate why we're still alive. You know?
Yeah. Thank you for that, Rennie. Why not been throwing a lot of support? Hey, why not? Hope you're good. Because why not doing it too?
Yeah. Also, I don't know if he's still on, but B-Boy came out, was on, and he was saying, "What's up to you, Rennie?"
Oh, word, that's the homie right there.
Yeah. So everybody's just throwing up a lot of hearts and just love for what you're saying right now. So
it's incredible. I mean, we have about maybe not even less than 10 minutes, but I want to maybe start opening up questions for our viewers. If any of our viewers have questions, please let us know. Why not said, thanks, Rennie. He has so much love for you too. Why not? We need
why not? Love you, brother.
But if anybody has questions, please start, we're going to try to keep track of what that is and anything that you guys have to say. But I know it's a lot of just great comments. Everybody's just saying beautiful, inspiring. People are saying, thank you for bringing Rennie. Yeah. Because honestly, Rennie, you're like, I think you're so popular in many ways, but I know there's this other introvert side of you that I don't feel you get out enough, actually. Like after big productions, Rennie, you tend to just leave. Yeah. And everybody wants to talk to Rennie Harris, and Rennie Harris disappears.
But
I do dip a lot because I mean I'm slowly. Well, I've come a long way. I used to be extreme, like claustrophobic, and I deal with that from time to time. Like I just don't like too crowded, So I'll go to a jam, but I might stand near the door, or walk. I count exits, crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And so often I get uncomfortable. Y'all know, y'all see me.
Yeah, we know.
I dip out, because it's hard for me to talk to people, and when they're in the extreme, they're excited, they're happy, and I'm not happy, if I don't like the work or I don't like the night, so I can't, it's hard for me to talk about it, and so instead of bringing them down, I just leave, and sometimes it gets a bit crowded for me, but
one of the repeating questions, it might be similar to the one that we asked prior, but one of them is, who were your mentors, or who do you consider mentors in your life in regards to dance or just in life in general?
Well, I had a village that raised me, along with my mom. There's a lot of people who looked out for me in North Philly, in the hood, a lot of older people who just like, when I called myself running away, they gave me money, let me sleep on the couch, you know what I mean? Like, people, there's a lot of people, and that would take a long time to name them, the McCrae family, and especially, and, a lot of other people just sort of help out. But I would say in the dance world, rest in peace with Baba Chuck Davis, Baba Reginald Yates. These two men, like, and I think I said this on an Ailey interview the other day with, where Chuck Davis said to me one day, he said, Rennie, if your bow is raggedy, your whole show is raggedy. And I remember that. That's why I always, and I was saying on it, and it was Hope Boykin I was talking to, and I was saying to her that, that's why I make sure the bow's tight. And we go.
And everybody in RHPM and in Raw, y'all watching, and we know Rennie's serious about his bows.
It's a full-on practice.
He will make us all do that until he likes it.
Yeah, like to make sure that thing is right and popping. As on level as the rest of the thing. And Baba Reginald Yates, I met him at the Florida Dance Festival, and he said to me, and I never met him before. He just walked up to me. I was teaching there. I was a guest teacher. He was a guest teacher. He walked up to me. He's like, Rennie Harris, I expect you in my class tomorrow at 8:00 sharp. And then walked away. And, you know, I ain't no dude from a can of paint, but, you know, I knew he was older than me. So I was like, okay, all right. So I go to his class, and in his class, it was West African movement. In this class, his West African movement, every movement that they did was hip hop. It was hip hop movement. I was like, hold up, this is the so-and-so, and this is the so-and-so, but it was an African dance. And that shifted me, and that was the catalyst. And this is before I think I met Baba Chuck. That shifted me and made me to start thinking about the connection between African dance and the African diaspora. When we say Africa, we're talking about our Latin brothers and sisters, Latinx, and everybody, right? Black and brown folk. That connection, that's what made me start thinking about it that way. So those two cats right there, mostly, of course, you know, Joe Myers Brown and Brenda Dixon Goshield, you know, all my dance parents.
Yeah.
So
we have about 2 minutes left, Rennie. And this thing is pretty on it with its 1 hour.
It'll cut us off.
We have one last important question. Who's your favorite, Jackie or Lee? This is serious.
Rennie, you don't gotta say it. We already know, big brother. We already know.
Rennie.
We already know.
You don't gotta tell people.
We already know.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that one, y'all, because I don't want to start no problems. That thing.
Rennie, I just want to say
in style. So
we love you, Rennie.
Love you guys too.
Thank you for making the time. This felt more just like this is the kind of conversation we just want to be having with Rennie as much as possible. Thank you for opening your heart and for being here with us. I think everything you said was on point. We needed to hear it. It was exactly what I feel we need to hear. I got emotional many times. I just want to say thank you. We're getting so much love. Everybody's saying Amy Santo is here.
Who's there?
Amy Simpson Santo.
Yeah. What's up?
She said she left because of Bubba Chuck.
This is the time. This COVID, this is the time to go in your bag and come out. You better come out with something new at the end of this.